afternoon, everybody. Calm Biker here. I'm socially distancing. I'm wearing a mask, well, a helmet. I'm going mad. This is the first time this bike has turned a wheel since January, and I'm not breaking the rules. I'm not breaking the rules. I've got a backpack on. I am heading out. I've got a lock in my backpack. I'm all prepared. I'm heading out. I'm going shopping. I'm not going very far. I'm not going fast. I don't want to risk my neck and have a crash and put the NHS at even more strain and all that kind of jazz. And I could have gone in the car, but we only need a small amount of stuff that will fit in a backpack, because we did a very big shop, not a stockpiling shop, but we did a very big shop about a week ago, and now it's just the fresh stuff that we don't have. So I thought I would bring the bike. I aren't intending on doing a lot of riding over the next few months, depending of course on what happens with this lockdown, but honestly, I mean, we're now into week 3 of the lockdown, I think. Might even be 3 weeks, I don't know. It's Saturday now. Saturday the something, about the 10th or 11th or something like that. And it's full of fuel and fuel stabiliser, this bike, but I need to empty the fuel lines of dirty fuel and then top it up with the last few litres I've got at home. I've got some left that I'll put a little bit in, and then it'll go back on its stand, and it's probably going to sit like this until they decide that we're all out to play again. At the minute, it seems like everybody's pretty much following the instructions. A couple of people out there on a bicycle there, but you're allowed to go out for exercise. The government keeps saying once a day, but the law says you can actually go out for exercise as many times as you like. You're allowed to go shopping, of course, so people might be going shopping like I am. But generally, you're not seeing that many people doing the normal things. I'm seeing far more people out riding bicycles and walking and things than I ever have in the past. But as you can see, the roads are pretty empty, so people aren't, driving places to go for a walk much, and they're not just going out for a drive or going out to visit the beauty spots, whatever it might be. So the roads are very, very empty. It's like a playground that we're not allowed to use. I've just gone past a park. For some reason, the council in this area have said 2 things this weekend, for Easter weekend. It's Easter, that's how I know what week it is, it's Easter. They said 2 things. The first thing they said was, we are not closing the parks. And the second thing they said was, but don't go to the parks, got to keep your social distance. But I have just gone past a little park, and there were a couple of people in there sunbathing. And I'm not going to have a go. I've seen it all over the social media recently. People who are holier than thou, and some people who are verging on Nazis, who are basically just giving people lots and lots and lots of grief for things that I don't think in the grand scheme of things matter, though technically are against the rules. All this stuff about people sunbathing. If you're sunbathing 20 feet away from anybody else, you're not actually increasing the risk of the virus spreading. But I understand the point that they want to keep people in so that they don't set a precedent and just have all the parks and beaches full. But I don't like the way that a lot of people are turning into their own little police forces, armchair police, just watching and telling everybody how terrible they are for doing the things they're doing. I mean, somebody's going to comment in the comments to this to say I shouldn't be out on my bike, I should have taken the car. Though at the minute there's something wrong with the brake on the car that I need to look at, so technically I'd probably be breaking the law by taking the car, because it might not be roadworthy. I think being sat on the driveway for weeks on end covered in salt and getting rained on has not really helped the brand new brakes very much. But yeah, there's all these people who just having a go at people for doing things when they don't really know the context. There was an old couple that had gone out for a walk and they'd sat on a bench and they'd taken a flask with them and they were having a cup of tea. And the newspapers got hold of it and said what idiots these people were, and maybe they were and maybe they weren't, but nobody considered actually finding out, you know, are these people just trying to get a bit of exercise, but they're elderly and maybe not very fit and they just needed a rest. I've seen people on the TV this morning, people who are in charge of the parks, who were talking to two people who'd sat for a few minutes on a bench, asking them, do you live in the same house? Do you, you know, you shouldn't be sat still. If you're in a park, you should be moving. And you think, is this really the country we want to live in? No. If you're going to the bench and you're sitting there all day and making a nuisance of yourself and not letting that bench be used by people who might need it, then I get the point. If you're licking the bench and that becomes a fad and everybody else starts licking the bench too, then I suppose it becomes a health risk. But I don't think that's really happening. But I'm sure some people will completely disagree with me, and that's fine. But yeah, all these armchair police, I think a lot of them need to mind their own business. There are some things that people are doing that are out of order, and they're clearly just flouting the rules because they don't care. Those people need dealing with. But a lot of this, I think, is over the top. The social distancing, completely agree. You know, minimise the spread and all that kind of stuff, but some of it's going to lead to some real problems, I think. I mean, it's already led to problems for my family. My mother, who's just had a very serious surgery for cancer, is now unable to get any further treatment and has a problem with her hands where whatever's happened during the operation has left her unable to use one hand, which is slowly kind of clawing over, and the other hand is starting to follow suit. But they've told her that she can't be seen by anybody in the NHS because the NHS is too busy on other things. So I think, you know, there's a lot of bad stuff going on here, and people like my old mum, who I can't even go and see now, are going to be fairly miserable through all this. People who live alone without a garden to go and sit in are going to be fairly miserable throughout all this. And having a go at those people for just having to sit down for 10 minutes in the sun, I think, a little bit mean. Away from the armchair police, I'm a little bit worried about what the police are doing as well. And again, I generally support them, but some of them seem to be taking it a bit too far. The idea that I can go to a supermarket and the supermarket's open and I can buy my milk, eggs and cream that I'm going for today, which I see as essentials, but other people might not, especially vegans. But I can be in that supermarket and there's loads of other stuff on sale that definitely isn't essential. You know, so, you know, candles maybe, scented candles, they're always for sale, aren't they? And cushions and all that kind of stuff. It's not essential. But if the shop's open and they're selling it, you would think you're allowed to buy it. And then you have some policemen and policewomen saying to people, let's have a look in your bag. I want to check you aren't buying anything that's non-essential. I'm not sure what exactly that's supposed to gain other than people disliking police, which is a position that a lot of people are in already, but really isn't a good place to be. We should be, you know, the police should be on our side and we should be on theirs. And this kind of thing doesn't help. And apparently there was a policewoman the other day, the police force had to apologise because a policewoman had actually gone into somebody's garden to tell the man who was sat in his own front garden that he had to go inside his house, he wasn't allowed outside. Now that's not in the rules anywhere. So he had to apologise because it was obviously wrong. But we are reacting to this in very strange ways, and some people are really turning it into an excess use of power, or trying to flex some muscles that they don't have, maybe in the case of the armchair experts. And I think it's all very, very sad. Still, on the positive side, we're not talking about Brexit anymore. Hey! And in this one at least, most people are on the same side. It's not a kind of 50-50 split of sets of people, amongst which there are the extremists who hate the opposition for no apparent reason. At least with this one, most of the people are on the same side. There are a few people out there who seem to think the whole thing is spread by 5G, which is interesting because a lot of the areas that are really suffering with this don't have 5G. So I don't know. I mean, maybe the virus can communicate over 4G as well, but just can do it faster over 5. I don't know. And then there's the people who are the anti-vaxxers. They love a good comment in a video, just below, you know, a lovely comment. But they love it that all these keep seeing these posts about people saying they're just going to try and create a new vaccine, and I'm not going to take it because I know what's in them, and what's in them is tracking chips. They post this presumably from their smartphones that do have tracking chips, but they think that they're going to have tracking chips injected into them. I did see somebody say, isn't it weird how this all happened exactly 3 months after the flu vaccination was given, and they were convinced that it was part of the flu vaccination. But of course, if it had happened a week after the flu vaccination, or 6 months after the flu vaccination, it still would have happened to everyone, roughly, at the same time after the flu vaccination. So as scientific evidence goes, that isn't. Anyway, is there a point to this video, or is this just a focused coronavirus Tower of Babel? It's the latter. I have no point whatsoever. I just thought I'd come out on the bike, get a little bit of shopping from the shop that I'm just arriving at, treat myself to a pie, which I generally don't think are a good thing to eat, but I'm miserable for being sat in the house all the time, slowly getting fat. So I thought I'd add to that fat with a pie. But I just thought I'd be excited by the idea, or I am excited by the idea, of actually being on the bike for a whole 15 minutes. Unfortunately, after looking at the queue, I wonder if I'll be going into the shop I want to go into at all. And there's another queue there as well. See, I don't really fancy the idea of standing in queues, even if they are with people standing 2 meters apart. I may have to go to a different shop, but I'll have a look. But anyway, that's enough from me. That's me babbling on. Probably doesn't make any sense. But this has been 10 or 15 minutes of a bit of joy, of a bit of not sitting in front of one screen or other, taking in television or computer stuff or whatever it might be. Just 15 minutes to escape it all, and it's wonderful. I think this is as essential as any other form of exercise. Anyone who says it isn't exercise should try riding a 1/4 of a ton of motorbike. Or thereabouts, you know. Anywho, thank you for watching, everyone. I'm not going to be recording on the way home. I'm going to just enjoy the ride on the way home and just really forget life for a bit and just enjoy the riding. So thank you for watching. Stay safe. Don't flout the rules. And I'll talk to you again soon. It'd be weird enough seeing somebody walking along in a wedding dress anyway, but weddings are banned at the minute, I think. Well, there are a couple of people about, but certainly unusual. This is Saturday afternoon in the town centre. Normally you can't move for people. Obviously the birds aren't in lockdown, judging by the state of that car. Well, I'm nearly back home now, and it's weird how empty everything is. I did take a slight detour to see how empty everything was, but if I get in trouble, I get in trouble. Interesting to see that people are still out on horses, so I guess that's okay, but of course horses need exercise too. And this bike now, no doubt, has got its fuel lines full of nice fresh fuel with the stabiliser in, so I can just top that off, because motorbikes need exercise too, don't they?